What is Bitcoin and how does it work? Bitcoin is a network of numerous members, known as nodes, who adhere to and enforce the Bitcoin protocol. Bitcoin also refers to the software that each node uses to join the network. Bitcoin Core is the core version of this software, and it runs on practically all of the nodes on the Bitcoin network, allowing them to apply the same set of rules and reach consensus. Visit the Bitcoin Core website. Despite the above-mentioned opposing incentives, a supply cap change is potentially achievable. Several entities would have to work together to modify Bitcoin's supply cap. Developers would have to suggest the modification first, then write the code to implement it. There would be a communal debate, which would almost certainly be contentious. Developers would have to agree on these improvements before they could be incorporated into Bitcoin Core. The community would then have to agree on an activation path to ensure that the network as a whole switched to the new rule set. Changing the supply cap would necessitate a hard fork, which would require all nodes on the network to accept the modifications or be kicked off. Who was the founder of Bitcoin Core? Satoshi Nakamoto invented Bitcoin Core in late 2008, and it is the initial implementation of Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto was the original maintainer of Bitcoin Core until he vanished in late 2010, and since then, a succession of other maintainers has taken over. The role of maintainer is given on a voluntary basis, and maintainers can be dismissed if they lose the community's trust. Who is responsible for the development of Bitcoin Core? Since Bitcoin's inception in 2009, the code has been entirely functional. However, there are defects to be fixed and upgrades to be incorporated, as with every software project. Many people are working to improve Bitcoin Core. These people are known as core developers, and there are no requirements for them. Being a core developer has no limits. The number of Bitcoin developers has exploded since Satoshi Nakamoto launched the first version of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Core has received contributions from over 750 people as of this writing. There is a lot of discussion regarding why Bitcoin founder Satoshi Nakamoto decided to limit the quantity of the cryptocurrency. Most people assume that this was his strategy for developing a hard electronic currency that would not be subject to inflation. Regardless of the reasons, additional serious issues arise, such as when will all Bitcoin be mined? What, moreover, will happen to Bitcoin miners if this occurs? In at least a few of ways, Bitcoin is analogous to gold. Its source code stipulates that it must have a finite quantity, implying that both Bitcoin and gold are finite resources.